Hey Beulah young adults, welcome back to another episode of our Ask Us Anything series. This is part 2 where Stu and Neil sat down to answer some tough questions around faith, unity, race, and intimacy within dating relationships. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
All right, Neil, we're back again for another question, our third one. You ready to jump in?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Right now, and we received a lot of questions around COVID and government and churches' response with things. And so I've compiled it into one question that I think actually your response is going to be really important for us. In all of this, why and what is the importance of Christian and local church unity? So that right, the heart of that is like, give me the meat of the importance of unity, but know the context is coming from COVID and governments and disagreement with one another, like personally, and even think about theological disagreements. Why should we strain, yearn for, and go after unity biblically? Like, what's the biblical response?
Yeah, I think unity is a beautiful thing, and God is the creator of not division, but of relationships and harmony and shalom, peace, and unity.
Yeah,
it was what he created at the beginning. It was what was lost, and this unity affects all forms and shapes of relationships and how we treat each other, even how we talk to each other, or how we empathize with each other. I think one tough thing that people forget is this. Have you ever walked through life and you've judged somebody? You've judged them for something you really thought they were up to because of all this evidence you saw. And really, it turns out it was absolutely nothing close to what you thought. And inside your mind, what's the dialogue? What a loser I was to think that. Oh my goodness, if that person knew what I was thinking of them, right? Like, what a dodo. And I think why I say that, Stu, is because when it comes to all these different views, political, theological, whatever they may be, here's the truth. At some point in our life, how we've been raised by our parents and the broken generations before us, what have they instilled in us that might not be biblical? Or what have they instilled in us that might be wrong? We have to ask ourselves those questions, because those things begin to shape unity or division or how we treat others, which causes disunity.
Yeah, and I think back to our first conversation around the topic of race, and you drew us back to that we're all made in the image of God, and that gives us value. And when we get into arguments with one another, often enough of the times when it gets heated, devaluing happens. It's like, I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm gonna show you this, versus going, you know what, can I express my opinion, can I express my reasoning, and we can do it in a safe environment. So I think of myself, I have friends in different denominations and across the world, different church experiences, and I'm still friends with them even though we disagree, and we have those conversations of disagreements, whether it be political or theological or experience-wise, whatever it may be. But like, what keeps us in unity is the relationship, our friendship together in that way. So I want to throw it back to you in that way. And if someone can't submit or can't find harmony to get to unity, like, then what should they do? Like, if you and I are just at odds and we just can't get it together to work with each other or to agree on this, like, how do you respond when you can't find unity? But at the same time, we know that Paul tells us in the New Testament, strive for unity, go after, like, desire it, like, and he's talking to the local church in that way. So kind of two different questions in there, but what's your response?
Yeah, I think, elsewhere in the book of Romans, it teaches us to pursue peace with one another. But there's a line after that I think is really helpful. It puts the onus on us. It says to pursue peace with all that is within your power. It is within my power to listen to you. It is within my power to treat you with dignity, made in the image of God.
Yeah.
It is in my power to understand that you worship and love Yahweh, and so do I. It is in my power to still maintain relationship with you after we've disagreed. And I've got to ask myself big questions. Is my ego and my agenda that big to the point? Well, if it is, it'll really show in how I treat you after this disagreement, won't it?
Yeah.
And if I can get over that, then I think we've really extended what it means to love one another, to pray with one another, to listen to one another, right? Because when we're trying to agree to something, sometimes the poor understanding of unity is that we just need to be the same and agree to everything.
Yeah.
But God made us different, and he made us with different expressions.
Yeah.
And I think the arts, right, is a way of expressing that expression of worship and beauty to God in a different way. It's all to God, but the expressions are different.
Yeah.
We've got to ask ourselves, do we have room for that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think honestly right now, within Christianity, if I can frame it that way, that Satan's greatest demise right now is to tear us apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so then our greatest response is to join together and have that harmony. And we need to go after that, and we do that in humility.
Absolutely.
But there are moments that there is going to be disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a break in unity, and it was once given to me as wisdom in my past to go like, if you can't unify, you're going to divide, and you don't want to divide. Mm-hmm. if you literally can't unify and find agreements, or you can't submit, and you end up causing division in that way, then there has to be some kind of response, for that.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that response in your wisdom, in your experience? Because I don't think there's only one way to respond.
Mm-hmm.
So like just what you're thinking, how do you respond to that person where they're wrestling and going like, it's not that like I hatefully disagree with you, but like I honestly can't get on board with what you're saying, so I need to do something. So what's your advice to that
mm-hmm.
if someone can't unify?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because the natural thing to do in such disagreement is when do we naturally think a disagreement would end? Here's when we think it'll end. It'll end when you agree with me.
Yeah, that's right.
But the other person's thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And so we've somebody's got to be the bigger person in dropping the bout, the winning, the agenda, and minister to the person. Speak to the person. They're a human being. Understand where they're coming from. Understand how that view is shaped. I think also this, even before even we disagree with people on something, I think we need to start from this basis, Stu, because it'll help us. We need to start from the basis that each of us in some way, shape, or form is a product of our environment, in what we've been exposed to and how we've experienced life or experienced God, and how we've been raised in certain social circles. So what I'm saying is this: we have to all admit, in some way, shape, or form, each of us has been socially conditioned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we can admit that, whether we've been socially conditioned intentionally or by accident, we've been socially conditioned to think a certain way. And if we can admit that, what it does do is we then approach each other before a disagreement with humility. Why? Because I understand that neither of us has the full picture of the truth.
Yeah.
Not even theologically.
Yeah.
I think Jesus knew this. He knew us so well. And do you remember what his prayer for us was? Before the man was nailed to the cross, before he was nailed to the cross, he thought about all believers, and he prayed, Father, my prayer is that you would make them one.
Yeah.
Unity.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
But unity doesn't mean we all agree on the same thing.
Yeah.
It does mean, regardless of our differences today, you've been made by God, and we worship the same Christ
Yeah.
and the same Lord.
Yeah.
If we can't find harmony and peace within that, then I begin to question how much we truly value Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to go exactly to the same spot, like, and land in there to go. There can be disagreements, like there can be there's things that are close hands that you just go like they're non-negotiable in that way. Like, do you believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and life? That is non-negotiable. Yeah. Like, we have to be able to have agreements on that. But there's open-handed stuff that we can disagree on. But you and I, we agree that Jesus is the way, the truth, and life. We believe that Jesus, yes, did die for our sins, and that he rose from the grave, and he has conquered sin, death, and hell. He's ascended. He's ruling and reigning right now. He's the one that gives salvation. Like, if you can have a conversation, and please have that kind of conversation, go, we find agreements in that, then that lowers the tone of another conversation to go, you know what, I may disagree with your interpretation over here, or I may disagree with your politics over there, but we can agree on this, and you're my brother, you're my sister, and we can land in that spot.
Wouldn't that be an incredible message to the world who don't know Jesus?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And that's why Jesus prayed.
Yeah.
And we got to work on it.
Yeah. Amen. Thanks for diving in for this question again, and I look forward to the last one with you.
Thank you so much for having me.